Hello and welcome to our ICC boot camp for the Thursday, the 26th of February. What a busy week this has been. A lot of great things are happening. Another new company on board, Bull Ideals LLC, coming on board in California. We have an attorney, former judge, who has been brought to us by Kenny G. Congratulations, Kenny. Great work. And we're formulating the documents for the creation of that corporation as we speak. Had a chance to review a first operating overview. Some modifications need to be made, but it's well on its way. We also have Lestrada officially now operational, so we can now issue Lestrada promissory notes. That's getting wrapped up as of yesterday. That was completed, I'm told, talking with Eddie today. So that's in great shape. And we have a lot of other things in the works. I had an appointment this morning with an attorney in Colombia, interested in taking the next step, more information, coming back from a trip abroad back in early March, and we'll bring that attorney to the table with Eddie. And so that's coming together nicely. We have some amazing things happening in a couple of areas. We have a few new members on board that are really doing a great job in spreading the good news. And so kudos to those folks. You know who you are. We also have a relationship developing with a group of Hawaiians. I'm super excited about this. Hope to have another call with them tomorrow evening. We also have another work center that we're working with some of the members with. And one of the newest members of that work center has brought to me an exchange facility. And they're already doing Bitcoin and other digital currencies. And they feel confident that they can do our currencies as well. So I'll be meeting with them tomorrow at 2 o'clock my time. And we've got some good things happening down under. So all is good. So take your time, but hurry up. We're looking for you to take some action. And you can then learn how to exchange your BVK, Zcash, and chips for US dollars, if that's what you want, or any other currency for that matter. So that's pretty much the updates at this moment. I'm a little frazzled. I spent 8 hours on a bus yesterday, 4 hours, actually 4.5 hours going to the North Coast, and had a meeting with 5 different real estate related individuals, investors, brokers, stockbroker, and gave them an overview. They seem to be interested, so we'll find out soon whether or not they are. Looked at a couple of properties and talked with Francesco, and he's got a potential player that could bring some serious money to the table. So that was a really good day, but a very long day. I was up at 5 and got back at 11, so I'm a little pooped, to say the least. So today what I want to do is take a look at a couple of new protocols, go over a couple of old ones, and that's it. We'll just finish it off because I've got at least another dozen emails that I've got to send out to people that want more information. So let's take a look at some news updates that I just put up there. You just got to see this. Warren Buffett once famously chided that all gold in the world would form a cube of 67 feet, 20 meters on each side. In doing so, he was attempting to argue that there was no point in owning gold since all the gold in the world would be an unproductive, useless hunk of metal. What's ironic and completely lost on the venerable Mr. Buffett is that you could make the same argument about the paper-based financial system. It's estimated that the derivatives market now exceeds 1 quadrillion, that's 15 zeros, in notional value. If you were to somehow accumulate a stack of 1 quadrillion, the pile would be thousands of feet high and hundreds of yards long, much bigger than the cube of gold. It's a similar story with government debt, which exceeds 56 trillion worldwide. Now, it may be cute thought experiment to blast gold as a useless hunk of metal, but the reality is that gold will never require a taxpayer-funded bailout. It won't crash the financial system, and it won't enslave future generations to higher taxes and inflation. On the balance, at least as a means of preserving assets over the long run, useless certainly beats destructive. Actually, gold can be put into productive use and generate a rate of return. It's just that such platforms are extremely rare. Guess what? We happen to have those platforms. I'll share with you some exciting developments on this front with you soon. My friends at Silver Bullion, a state-of-the-art precious metals depository in Singapore, recently put together a great infographic to visualize all of this. Over 1 quadrillion in paper financial systems stacked against the known supply of gold and silver in the world. Now, I've got a bigger version we'll take a quick look at. They were kind enough to let me send this out to you. Hope you enjoy. So let's go and take a look at this. There is the little stack of gold, supposedly all the gold in the world right there. There's the size of the Statue of Liberty, some of the bigger buildings on the planet. And look at the amount of financial interdependencies, toxic debt. Then we look at 116.4 trillion in loans and stocks. And then we look at 300 trillion in real estate assets. We look at 50 trillion in bank deposits. And I just realized I haven't shared my screen. So let me go and do that so you can see this. My, oh my, oh my. All right, so what do we got to do that? I know I got to come back over here to Google Hangouts. Sorry about that, folks. And the screen share. We'll choose that one, start screen share, present to everyone. All right, so let's try that again. You can read the Financial Hope 2015 news, and in doing so, you will then see the visual here, the 1 quadrillion of financial interdependencies. There's the size of the amount of gold on the planet compared to what is the mess out there. 116.4 trillion in loans, 300 trillion in real estate, 50 trillion in bank deposits, 28.8 trillion physical currency, 56.7 trillion debt, 6.4 trillion in gold, and 0.024 trillion in silver. Pretty awesome chart. Now, the way I'm going to use this chart is I'm going to put it into a link. I'm going to send it out to people and say, which system would you rather support? All this funny money, or would you rather support gold-backed digital currency called Zcash, BVK, and our value-added bonus chips? And if we keep feeding this beast, the debt just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. 56.7 trillion. It can never be paid off. Do you realize that? It's going to crash. It's inevitable. So the beautiful part about our system is that our system is not going to crash. And so you've got to be pretty excited and proud to be able to share an opportunity that will hedge against all this mess that you see visually before you. So it's a great tool. Use it as you see fit. But I know I'm going to be using it to talk to people about supporting a system that's destroying the world versus supporting a system that's blessing the world with abundance. And that's what we are all about. All right, so that's the news updates for today. Let's now go to BVK, Zcash, chips, and promissory notes. And hopefully you're seeing that. If not, go to Chipstash Corner and look up the link under Rahino, and you'll see this particular document. Members of the Internet Catalog Club that have BVK have currency of Bougainville that is all gold backed. Now remember, the other important thing to understand about Bougainville is that there are volcanic eruptions around the island of Bougainville right now spewing out more gold. So when they say all the gold in the world is that much, that's a lie. New gold is being produced, and fortunately, Bougainville has control over it. So that puts us in a very advantageous situation to allow us to know that in the future we'll have more gold, more gold, more gold backing all the BVK that's being created. That's pretty exciting. Now, although BVK is not generally accepted in the world financial and business communities, it's arguable that BVK is lawful currency in the USA because it qualifies as such as per the US Constitution. Now, when we go and look at the US Constitution and the value of money, the dollar was equated to a certain amount of silver. You can go look it up in what is the dollar versus a Federal Reserve note, which is a means of exchange. So we actually have BVK qualifying because of the equivalency of gold being available backing it. Now, that's not to say people are going to take it, but go back to the renminbi and ruble story, 1971, when Tricky Dick Nixon introduced Pepsi-Cola, vodka, and rice beer into a international exchange system that united the communist nations with the, quote, capitalist nation of the United States to create trade. And that's how it all started. And that's why you got Chinese products in every nook and cranny of your house. All right, so you still can't buy anything in China without using renminbi. So just as you can't buy anything here with BVK, doesn't mean you can't do trade. And so we set up those trade platforms. We have everything in place. But although some members of the Internet Catalog Club are known to have successfully used BVK to negotiate business, most have not. Obviously, Fetus Bank, I think, is the best example, was purchased with BVK. Pretty darn exciting. Other things have been done. South Africa, a farm and a house were purchased with BVK. United States, a couple of homes, a couple of cars were purchased with BVK, and certainly some commodities were purchased with BVK. The Internet Catalog Club instituted the use of Zcash as a product that could be bought and sold in 1996, introduced chips as savings points similar to the airline savings miles or grocery store points in 1999. Many members of the Internet Catalog Club have engaged in business related to Zcash and chips over the years, some having profited enormously thereby. And certainly Gary and Eddie have been blessed with lots of BVK and lots of Zcash and lots of chips based on the efforts and transactions that we have done. For example, Zcash and chips played an integral part in the process through which many members have accrued vast fortunes of BVK, and that may be you listening on this call right now. But many members have never learned how to reap benefits from Zcash and chips. However, litigation in the USA federal court engaged in and by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission has left little doubt that digital crypto virtual currency is lawful tender in the United States. This view has been further supported by state legislative changes, by general use of different forms. Examples in the media over the last year have been Bitcoin, Starbucks stars, Amazon coins of stateless currency, and by USA IRS advisory. And all of these documents are on the website under the digital currency section. The Internet Catalog Club has never contested classifications of Zcash and chips by government entities or courts, but has closely followed such activities, adjusting the use of Zcash and chips accordingly. For example, although litigation by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission involving Zcash and chips was settled by a consent decree and final judgment that did not set a precedent regarding these, the club had earlier enveloped the use of Zcash so that a classification of Zcash as a security would not have a negative effect on club-related business. Thus, recognizing that Zcash and chips seem to fall under the definitions of currency now, in effect in the USA, the use of which definition seems to be expanding in the worldwide acceptance, the Internet Catalog Club recommends that all members consider Zcash and chips now to be currency, abide by all rules and regulations and laws related thereto. So remember, if you are a taxpayer in your respective country and you hold Zcash and chips, you may be liable for taxation. So you need to study the IRS overview on that, and that may be a taxable event when you use it. So if you're a taxpayer, pay your fair share. However, Zcash and chips are registered in members' accounts with the Internet Catalog Club, and thus any user or party accepting Zcash or chips must be a member of the club business social network. So we can only deal member to member. That keeps us in private contract, which is very important, protects us, and just anybody you want to do business with, just make sure they get a membership. And if you can't provide it because you aren't in a sponsorship position, just get in touch with your upline. They may be able to do it, or certainly I can do it for you and with you. Now, this necessary requirement places a restriction on the use of Zcash and chips, as they are not available to the general public and specifically are not items that may be deposited with a bank or otherwise readily used within the world financial community. I must apologize for the hammering in the background, but we have a new neighbor and they're installing things, so that's not me tapping my toes or anything. That opened an opportunity for members to benefit by servicing needs of other members as per the protocols, become a partner with House Services. So now we have Regino in Texas, we have La Strada in Pennsylvania, and we have Beau Ideals, that's B-E-A-U, which is French for beautiful. Beautiful Ideals, Beau Ideals LLC, being created as we speak in California. Now, that requires establishment of new corporations within jurisdictions of attorneys that choose to participate in the proposed business. So 3 jurisdictions, California, Pennsylvania, and Texas, are ready to rock and roll. As a result, members may now exchange BVK, Zcash, and or chips for promissory notes that are lawful tender and legal tender in nations that are signatories to the United Nations UNCITRAL Convention, and in the USA, also legal tender in 49 states as per the United States Uniform Commercial Code. The state of Louisiana is under French law, and so therefore is not a part of the Uniform Commercial Code, but it is an UNCITRAL Convention signer, I'm told. But it must be underscored that being lawful and legal does not mean that the notes must be accepted. That is still a matter of negotiation between parties, or in the case of existing contracts, acceptance is governed by contractual terms and by law. So these gentlemen I was with yesterday afternoon, well, we can't force somebody to sell their property. No, we can't, but we can certainly negotiate. And in negotiating, we can show them a better way to do business, make more money, end up having not only the property paid for in full, they can use the protocol to double their money by accepting the Zcash, bringing it back to the club for $5,000, getting Zcash and chips, creating 2 more promissory notes, then taking it to the bank. They've literally doubled their money. The second thing they can do, obviously, is to take it on deposit and ask for a loan against it, and then obviously we can take that to trade. The third thing is to bring $250 million to the bank, set up a services agreement, and go into some pretty serious heavy trading. So those are some options that people have. The latest one we'll talk about in a moment. Now, negotiations, one of the tools that I will use in negotiations is that LPQ small liquidity pyramid, showing the amount of debt, and say to these people, you want to use these currencies that are putting you deeper and deeper into debt and causing all kinds of problems, or would you rather learn how to double your money, triple your money, quadruple your money using an asset-backed currency that's the solution for eliminating this debt? And you'll really find out the character of the individual real quick. No, I just want the money. You don't want to learn. No, don't want to learn. Next. There's hundreds of thousands of properties, hundreds of thousands of businesses out there, and I'm just going to find the ones that want to make this world a better place. And the rest of them, well, when the crash comes, they'll be pretty sorry they didn't invest the time and energy to learn how to do this, because we will be flourishing and they'll be floundering. Now, furthermore, the exchange requires payment in USD bank deposit funds of $5,000 USD administrative fees. That covers the attorney fees, it covers consulting fees, and administrative fees. Therefore, it's highly recommended that before making an exchange of BVK, Zcash, and or chips for promissory notes, that members fully understand how to use the notes and have specific plans as to how they intend to benefit from their use. An important point to underscore is that promissory notes issued as per the aforementioned protocols are not directly provided by the issuer in exchange for BVK, Zcash, and or chips, as might be considered a currency exchange transaction. And thus, this falls under laws regulating such. So we're not doing that. Rather, a member wishing to obtain a promissory note must purchase a real world product, such as LHP retail items, and resell the product to the issuer of the note being provided as payment for the product. This keeps us into a commercial transaction. These being commercial in nature are governed by national constitutions, by international trade treaties, and governmental agencies that oversee commercial trade. Very important that you educate yourself and others as to how powerful these promissory notes are, keeping us in commerce and allowing us to do commerce transactions. And in the case of using the promissory note with Zcash, you have the ability to use it, as do the banks, and not have a tax liability until the Zcash is actually used. So they can actually take a promissory note, the bank can, to the Federal Reserve, and they can get 5 times the value of the note as an asset on deposit. So there's some pretty exciting things that they can do that's definitely beneficial to them. All right, moving down the page. In some instances, these may provide even more restrictions than financial or currency exchange rules, regulations, and laws, but they are consistent, rarely modified, and their history and application is already well established in court precedents. In summary, BVK, Zcash, and/or chips may be exchanged for promissory notes issued by entities as per protocols indicated herein by making a purchase of items, reselling these, and accepting the notes as payment. But further use of the notes in any manner is a matter of contracts and/or negotiations with other parties, and the issuers of the notes have no obligation related to the future use of the notes other than being ready, willing, and able to comply with the terms and conditions of the notes. So it's a learning curve. We're all on it, and it's getting better and more understood every day of the week, and we'll make major inroads this year for sure in having people understand the power of promissory notes backed by our asset-backed digital currencies. All right, the next thing I want to take us to is how to negotiate a Rahino promissory note with a bank. Now, you can do this with or without a lawyer. Certainly be hunting for lawyers, because it becomes very profitable for you to bring an attorney to the House Services contract. It's certainly going to benefit the members that have already done that. The first thing to understand is that a Rahino promissory note, a Liberstrata, and the soon-to-be Bow Ideals LLC that you hold is your money. You can do with it whatever you wish. Now, you need a plan, of course, but this next statement is something I never realized before. It's recommended that the first use to be made with a note is to have a CPA update and certify a balance sheet showing the full value of the note as a cash asset. So if you don't have a CPA, you might want to get one. You might want to say, well, I don't have a company. Well, guess what? Wouldn't it be really smart at this point to think about setting up your employee gold, getting your company set so you can show this beautiful promissory note as an asset in your newly created walking billboard advertising business? You'll get even more Zcash and have more promissory note capability. What an awesome opportunity to do just that. And the CPA can obviously provide you a balance sheet showing you the full value of the note as a cash asset, which you may be able to negotiate with a bank to get a loan against. So depositing a Rahino promissory note. As a second step, you can benefit from a banking relationship, and it can be very advantageous to a bank to take the Rahino promissory note on deposit because it's not considered cash until it's collected or exchanged for other value. Thus, as property, USA Bank may take advantage of its capability of borrowing from the Federal Reserve several times the value of the note, whereas if it were a cash deposit, the bank may be severely limited in its use of deposits as per the Dodd-Frank law. You go Google Dodd-Frank and look it up if you really need to. So instead of depositing the Regino promissory note, there's another way that you may use the Regino promissory note to negotiate with the bank, and that's with documentary funds. As stipulated in each note, Regino, Lastrada, Bull Ideals may provide documentary funds that are collateralized by USD bank deposits in banks. The bank you are dealing with may be interested in taking on deposit or documentary funds that Regino may provide, or any of the other two, and use these to provide certificates of deposit to be used as a basis for trading USA treasuries. Alternatively, or in addition to documentary funds that Regino may immediately provide, arrangements may be made in conjunction with Texas Holdings Inc. on behalf of Regino for other parties to make deposits with the bank, for the bank to then issue, as per instructions by other parties, its own version of documentary funds for use in the process. This will require you to arrange for deposits of other parties to be made as per business you and or a bank you are working with may undertake with Texas Holdings. So you may know somebody that's going to be buying a new house, and they may be in a situation where they're going to pay cash. When I was talking with these people on the north coast of the Dominican Republic, they said most of the purchases in the Dominican Republic are done with cash. And I thought, well, what a fabulous opportunity to teach these real estate brokers how to say to the client, look, if I could show you a way where you could buy this property, have it paid for, and have your funds that you're going to use continue to make you 20% ad infinitum, would you be interested in more information? Well, geez, how could I do that? Well, go to the bank, set up a CD, and bring the $300, $400, $1 million, whatever you're going to pay for the house in cash, put that on deposit. Let's take it to trade. Pretty powerful stuff. All right, so type of business that Texas Holdings would be interested may be reviewed in this link. Also, alternatively, the bank may choose to arrange for deposits to be made in another institution that may more readily use them as per this protocol. We had a situation, unfortunate, that where a banker said he wasn't big enough. Really what he was trying to do is just get out of the conversation. But certainly that banker would easily could have been capitalized with the documentary funds and made whole with a huge amount of deposits, 250 million, or he could arrange to take those documentary funds to a bank that they work with. Can't think of the word at this moment. It's escaped me. What the heck is it? Correspondent bank. Thank you. So a correspondent bank could easily do it. Now, the relationship that I'm developing with a member out of Hawaii introduced to me, this member introduced to me a gentleman that lives in the United States who introduced me to two people that live in Hawaii that are Hawaiian nationals, and they are not U.S. citizens. Rather interesting. And anyway, they were telling me that they are either already set up or setting up a financial institution, a sovereign financial institution that will have several corresponding banks. So this is a great opportunity for us to capitalize them, and they can use the corresponding banks as trade platform depositories. So it's amazing what's happening, folks. Really, really exciting. It's all coming together. And based on the upon documentary funds as described, profits from trading the U.S. Treasuries could be used to provide a cash deposit with a bank equal to twice the value of the note you have. And using that deposit as collateral, the bank could loan you the full value of the note, with the principal and interest being paid using the deposit. And you would transfer the note uncollected to Texas Holdings Inc. In some instances, with all parties agreeing, instruments other than U.S. Treasuries may be traded. Could be medium-term notes, could be bonds, other things could be done, but there's more risk to those, so the U.S. Treasuries provide little or no risk. In short, documentary funds and their use is a matter that may be negotiated to the satisfaction of all parties, including the bank. I think one of the biggest challenges for me, and probably for you, is our inability to negotiate. So I guess one of the next sessions we should work on is maybe go and find some books on how to negotiate. I'm sure we could find them online, and there are probably a lot of good information on how to negotiate for free. And so get your skill levels up. Start negotiating with people. Put deals together. That's what commerce is all about. It's just going to a bank, borrowing the money, getting yourself in debt, they foreclose, and the next thing you end up with is this mess here. All right? There it is. 1 quadrillion of financial interdependencies that are never going to get paid off. What a mess. So study this silver bullion overview and share it with people. It's got to stop. Gold's at the bottom of the pyramid here. But fortunately, we're in that bottom of the pyramid. We're safe and secure in that arena. Okay, so how to negotiate? We've covered that. Certainly, if you have any questions on these, send them to me, and I'll get answers and post them in the 2015 news section. Now, the next one we're going to work on is a new one. And this is Texas Holdings, Inc.'s latest white paper about business debt, February 25th. So it was created yesterday. Just had a chance to look at it today. And so let's see what it has to say for all of us. Debt is a liability for a business that owes the debt, and it's an asset to the lender to whom the debt is owed. But debt can sour for both parties if obligations cannot be met. Texas Holdings, Inc. offers a unique solution beneficial to both parties. A business that is borrowing money or that already owes a debt may offset the debt by, as seller, issuing a pro forma invoice for future delivery of products or services to Texas Holdings. The invoice should be for the value that, after costs to the seller, will have sufficient profit to provide payment for twice the debt owed. Texas Holdings, Inc. would pay the invoice immediately with a set of Regino LLC promissory notes. Number 1 says one or several notes could be issued to provide payment for seller costs. Number 2 says one note could be issued to provide payment to the lender of the full amount, principal and interest, due for the term of the debt. Number 3, one note could be to provide the remainder as an unencumbered profit to the seller. And number 4 says, for each note, a companion equal value note may be issued as overpayment to the seller, and the seller would be required, as per the invoice, to collect the companion notes in USD bank deposit funds and return the collected amounts to coordinates supplied by Texas Holdings, Inc. as a return of overpayment. So that's pretty exciting. $10 million debt. They create $20 million in promissory notes. Seller gets the $10 million they need. We get $10 million. Another note's created to pay off the lender with the principal interest for the term of the debt. And there could be another one created for profit. Pretty darn exciting. Now, to arrange for Regino to issue the notes, Texas Holdings, Inc. would use its own self-liquidating credit arrangement with the Internet Catalog Club to obtain Zcash, and would use the Zcash to acquire LHP items through the retail LHP protocol shown in number 30. Through that protocol, the LHP items acquired by Texas Holdings, Inc. would automatically be resold to Regino, and Regino would provide payment to Texas Holdings, Inc. by issuing the promissory notes as Texas Holdings, Inc. may determine. As may be discussed with a Brightstar Work Center, it may be greatly advantageous to the seller's suppliers, to the lender, and to the seller to hold or otherwise use the notes described in 1, 2, and 3 without collection. However, the seller will be expected to exchange the notes described in number 4 for USD bank deposit funds. This may be accomplished by the seller using the protocols, how to exchange a Rahino promissory note for other currency, and how to negotiate a Rahino promissory note with the bank. Same protocols may be used by the seller's suppliers, the lender, and or the seller to exchange notes described in 1, 2, and 3 for USD bank deposit funds. So that's the latest and greatest available to you for review. Now, you'll find that white paper about business debt down here. Now that you have a Rahino promissory note, I think I'm going to go over that one more time with you. And then we're done. I've got so much work to do. Come on, Mr. Slow Doc. There we go. Okay, now that you have a Rahino promissory note, how are you going to use it? Are you going to use it as a cash asset on a CPA certified balance sheet? I mean, what big company wouldn't like to put 50, 60, 100, 200 million on their balance sheet? Are you going to use, I just noticed there's a D in there. Use it to pay a debt. Great way to pay off your mortgage, credit card debt. Some interesting stories are becoming available for those people using that. And the banks are perplexed. They don't really know what to do. They know that they've got to accept it, but they don't know why and how they should accept it. So it's interesting. The learning curve is rather vertical, but all is good. Are you going to use it to pay for purchases? Are you going to use it to make a bank deposit? Are you going to use it to make an investment? Are you going to use it to negotiate commercial exchanges? Are you going to use it to negotiate financial exchanges? Are you going to use it to pay taxes? Are you going to use it to support projects? As familiarity with such notes expand, it will become increasingly easier to do business directly with them. So yeah, it's vertical, it's trailblazing right now. By the end of this year, I can assure you that with the amount of momentum we're getting with these new people that are coming to the table, this Hawaiian group, this group I'll be talking with out of California tomorrow that has digital currency exchange facilities, 15 of them already set up. Pretty exciting stuff. It's going to be increasingly easier to do business directly with them. And for that reason, it's recommended that they be presented directly as an exchange means or as payment in every instance as indicated in the above questions. Why do we do this? Well, we need the feedback collectively, then solutions can be found. When they say, no, we're not going to accept it, well, if you're a financial institution in the United States that a debt is being paid off with the promissory note and you don't accept it, the UCC document that says payment tendered, refused, debt canceled. All right, go read it. Internalize it. Make it a part of you. But there's one solution that's readily available to everyone that needs to exchange a Rahino promissory note for another mode of currency, and that's to bring business to Texas Holdings so that profits can be used to exchange other currency for your note. See how to exchange Rahino promissory note for other currencies. And when we do that, there are 9 different ways to do that. So let's go see that. And there they are. Taking care of mortgages, don't let it happen again. The power of student loans. Are you selling? Are you buying? Cafe-Let World Promotion of Coffee, I should say. Casa de Bambino World Promotion of Education. USPS World Employment Promotion. And Acquiring Employee Goal. Acquiring LHP Retail without automatic resell. So those are the things that you can bring business to the table too. And in talking with Mr. B, he said I didn't get it, and I didn't. And maybe I haven't been really astute in my ability to send the information to you, so I apologize. But really what he's looking is the ability to do futures so that we'll buy it but not take delivery of it. It'll be kept on consignment, and at some future date, we may do the negotiations and accept the product as we need it. So this is really good in situations where they have the opportunity, like an in-ground gold mine. The mine is not operational, but we can certainly buy future production. Same for oil, gas, wheat, coal, you name it. It can be done that way. So as you're looking for things that would fit these categories, then you can bring them to me and we can further review them to see if they will be acceptable for Texas Holdings to make the purchase of. So we're here. It's just a matter of getting out and talking to people, flexing your muscles, and showing people a better way to do business. We really have it, folks. So I want to thank you for being here with me today. I'll get this webinar up on the site as quickly as I possibly can, and let it be shared with everybody. Let everybody know it's available. And we'll see you next week. In the meantime, if you are wanting to get active, or if you are active and need help, I'm as close as my Skype. God bless you all. Thank you for being here with me today, and we'll see you all again soon.